Chosen one, drop everything, because what I'm about to say carries an urgency you cannot ignore. God has stepped into this very moment with a message crafted for you alone, and delaying could mean missing what heaven is releasing right now. This is not casual. This is not ordinary. This is divine intervention, and your name is written on it. You have been carrying weight, questions, and silent battles that nobody else has seen. There are nights when the noise in your head has been louder than your prayers. Mornings when you wondered if the struggle would ever ease. But here this God has seen every tear, every restless thought, every invisible burden, and today he declares, enough. The cycle is breaking, and your season is shifting. Right now, unseen hands are opening doors you thought were sealed. The delay that felt endless was not denial, it was preparation. Heaven has been aligning pieces in silence, and today the first cracks in the wall are appearing. What looked immovable will fall. What looked hopeless will bloom. What looked final is only the beginning of something greater. Chosen one, this message carries urgency because timing matters. When God moves, he doesn't wait for comfort or convenience. He moves suddenly, and he requires faith. This is the moment where hesitation cannot rule you. You are being called to step boldly, to trust without proof, to walk into spaces where favor has already been planted in your name. And as you listen, I need you to anchor this word with action. Hit that like button right now as a statement of agreement. Subscribe to join thousands of other chosen one souls who are walking in this same awakening. And in the comments, type 777 as a prophetic seal that you are ready for divine completion in your life. These simple steps are not just engagement, they are faith declarations, outward signs of your inward yes to God's urgent call. The reason this word is urgent is because the enemy has been pressing harder. You've felt it, the sudden waves of discouragement, the strange resistance, the unexplained chaos. That is not random. It is because hell knows what heaven is about to release over you. But no scheme, no distraction, no delay can block what God has already decreed. The urgency is not fear, it is preparation. Picture this, a floodgate that has been held shut, pressure building behind it. At the right moment, one touch releases the waters, and everything changes in an instant. That is what today is for you. The waters of blessing, provision, renewal, and clarity are pressing at the gates, and God is saying, it is time, chosen one. You cannot keep holding on to old doubts and expect to step into new abundance. This is the hour to release. Release the fear of not being enough. Release the worry of what others think. Release the grip on outcomes you cannot control. God is urgent with you today because he knows hesitation is the thief of miracles. Your obedience in this moment will unlock what has been waiting for you all along. Stay with me, because before this message ends, something in your spirit is going to shift. And if you dare to believe, you will not leave this moment the same. This is your urgent call. This is heaven's reminder. This is your moment. Would you like me to continue writing the full script in this same voice until we reach your target length, 50 words? So I break it into continuous parts you can paste together. Chosen one, when God sends urgency into your life, it is because the moment carries weight beyond your understanding. This is not a season for casual faith. This is a season where the smallest step of obedience can redirect your entire future. You may not realize it, but every hesitation has been costing you time, and every time you delayed, the blessing delayed with it. That is why God is pressing on you today. because the alignment of heaven has reached its point of release, and your participation matters. Look at how the signs have been circling around you. The repeated numbers you keep seeing, the sudden dreams that felt almost prophetic, the conversations that came out of nowhere and spoke to your exact situation. These are not coincidences. They are alarms ringing in the spirit realm, signals that God is about to move and you cannot afford to stay asleep. The urgency is not meant to scare you, but to wake you up. This is why battles intensified lately. The strange conflicts, the unexpected rejections, the moments you felt drained for no reason, these were attempts to distract you before the release. But chosen one, the more pressure you felt, the greater the proof that heaven is near. Do not misinterpret warfare as abandonment. Warfare is always the sign that a shift is imminent. Today, God's message comes with fire because you are standing at a threshold. On one side is the familiar, safe, and stagnant. On the other side is the unknown, but filled with favor, abundance, and breakthrough. You cannot stand with one foot in each. The urgency is heaven saying, "Step over, now." There is no time to wait for reassurance, no time to collect endless confirmations. The word has already been spoken, and your response determines how quickly it manifests. Chosen one, picture yourself holding a key in your hand. The door has been locked for years. You prayed, cried, and even blamed yourself. But what you did not know is that the key was always within you, and today God is telling you to use it. The urgency is not that the door might disappear. The urgency is that the opportunity behind it will not stay forever. Doors open in seasons, and this is your season. The blessing waiting on you has a specific timing. Imagine a harvest ready in the field. If you harvest too early, the fruit is bitter. If you wait too long, the fruit rots. Only when you move in the right moment does the fruit carry sweetness. That is where you are now. The fruit is ready, and heaven is urging you to pick it. And understand this: urgent does not mean rushed. God is not pushing you into chaos. He is pulling you into divine timing. The urgency is holy alignment, not human panic. It is heaven saying, "The window is open, step through it before it closes." So right now, let your faith anchor this word. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that God did not bring you this far to abandon you at the door. Hit that like button as a witness to your faith. Subscribe to join thousands of other chosen ones who are stepping into this season with you. And in the comments, type 777 to seal this urgent word over your life as a declaration that you are ready to step in without fear. The urgency is not only about what you will receive, it is also about what you will carry for others. Someone's answer is waiting on your obedience. Someone's deliverance is tied to your yes. When you delay, you not only pause your own blessing, you pause the flow for others. That is why this moment matters more than you think. God is not just blessing you, He is positioning you as a vessel of blessing for many. Chosen one, you cannot afford to minimize yourself any longer. You have been underestimating the weight of your calling, but heaven has not. The angels are already moving, the resources are already lined up, the path is already cleared. The only missing piece is your agreement, and God is saying urgently, agree today, move today, act today. Would you like me to keep flowing with new motifs and sections in this exact style? So we build toward your 50 zero-word script piece by piece. Chosen one, urgency is the sound of heaven knocking at the walls of your hesitation. It is not a gentle whisper. It is a trumpet in the spirit, calling you to stand, to listen, to act. When God releases an urgent word, it is because the shift cannot be delayed without cost. You have reached the point where staying still is no longer safe. Movement is your protection. Obedience is your covering, and trust is your access. There are moments when God allows a long season of silence, where prayers feel unanswered and your steps feel uncertain. But when that silence breaks, when the word comes heavy and urgent, it means the waiting has expired. You are no longer being prepared, you are being activated. Every delay, every lesson, every battle has led you to this command. Do not stay where you are. Rise, for heaven is moving now. Chosen one, the wind has shifted. Just as a sailor knows when the breeze changes direction and it is time to set the sail, you too must recognize this change. The winds of resistance that once pushed against you are now about to carry you forward, but you must lift your sail in faith. If you keep your sail tied down, the wind will pass you by. This is why God's word today is urgent, because the wind is blowing, and you cannot afford to let it carry others while you stand still. Look deeper into your recent days. Have you not noticed sudden interruptions in your routine? Conversations that jolted you awake, dreams that lingered longer than usual, signs that caught your attention when you tried to ignore them? These are divine alerts, messages disguised in ordinary form, urging you to wake up. God has been speaking in layers, and today he strips away the subtlety and speaks plain. Act now. Chosen one. The enemy has fought you harder in this season because the enemy knows what is scheduled to be released. The resistance you have faced is not proof of failure, it is confirmation of proximity. Darkness does not waste energy where nothing is about to break through. The attacks have been intense because the release is near. The urgency of this word is God saying, do not misinterpret pressure as punishment. It is evidence that the blessing is pressing into reality. Picture the earth before an earthquake. The ground trembles, not to destroy, but to announce that a shift in the foundation is taking place. That is where you are now. The trembling has been uncomfortable, but it is announcing breakthrough. You cannot keep living as if nothing is happening. You cannot normalize the shaking. The urgency is God saying, brace yourself, because the foundation is changing under your feet, and what emerges will be new territory. And this territory is not familiar. It will not look like the old season you just left. Do not expect it to. You cannot measure the next by the standards of the last. God is urgent with you today, because if you keep comparing what he is birthing to what you have lost, you will reject the very miracle you prayed for. Your mind must be renewed. Your expectation must be widened. Your vision must be lifted. Chosen one, listen closely. God is moving resources even as you hear these words. Someone is being stirred to speak your name in a room you have never entered. Someone is preparing to extend favor in a way you could never orchestrate. Someone is about to become a bridge you didn't know you needed. But timing is everything. If you are not in position when the bridge appears, you will miss the crossing. This is why the urgency is loud. This is why heaven will not let you ignore this word. So right now, anchor yourself in action. Tap like not as routine but as agreement. Subscribe to join thousands of souls who are also aligning with this divine season. And write 777 in the comments as a prophetic declaration that you are ready for completion, ready for doors to open, ready for what God is urgently releasing into your life. These are not empty gestures. They are acts of faith that align your natural with heaven's supernatural. Chosen one, there is a weight on your name in the spirit realm. Angels are assigned to it. Battles have been fought over it. Promises have been written beside it. And today, God's urgency is his seal, reminding you that your name has not been forgotten. This is the moment where the unseen becomes seen, the delayed becomes delivered, the hidden becomes revealed. Do not let fear make you late to your own appointment. Would you like me to continue in this same flow, adding new motifs and layers of urgency, destiny, and divine timing until we build the full-length script you need? Chosen one, urgency is not simply about speed, it is about precision. Heaven has a rhythm, a divine beat that moves in perfect time. And when you align yourself with that rhythm, doors swing open without effort. The reason God presses you today with such intensity is because the timing of his release is exact, not vague. If you move too soon, you arrive before the blessing is ready. If you move too late, the blessing passes into another's hands. That is why this call is urgent. You are standing at the point of perfect alignment, and heaven refuses to let you miss it. Think of the way a seed breaks the soil. For weeks it lies hidden underground, unseen, stretching fragile roots into darkness. Then suddenly the day comes when the sprout pierces the surface and reaches for the light. If it pushes through too early, the frost kills it. If it delays too long, the root withers beneath the weight of the soil. Only at the appointed moment does the seed become visible. You are that seed, and today is that moment. The soil cannot hold you any longer, chosen one. There are assignments written with your name on them, and heaven is urgently positioning you to fulfill them. What you thought was random preparation has actually been specific training for this release. Every closed door that once frustrated you was a shield. Every delay that irritated you was a pause for your protection. Now those same delays have expired, and the urgency you feel is the release of what was once restrained. This is not a season of waiting, it is a season of stepping. There are people assigned to your path who cannot find you until you take the step. There are opportunities hidden in plain sight that will not reveal themselves until you move forward. The urgent word is God's reminder that faith is not passive belief, it is active obedience. The miracle is not waiting for you to sit still. The miracle is waiting for you to walk toward it. The moment your foot touches the path, the ground will shift in your favor, chosen one. God is not only preparing you for blessing, he is preparing you for visibility. For too long, you have been hidden, underestimated, overlooked, but heaven is urgently calling you out of hiding because the world needs the light you carry. The voices of doubt that told you not yet are about to be silenced by God's now. You were not made to blend in, you were made to stand out. And this urgency is your summons into the open. Picture a runner at the starting line. Every muscle tense, every breath controlled, waiting for the sound of the gun. The preparation is complete, the stance is set. The only thing left is the signal. That is where you are. The urgency you feel is heaven's gunfire ringing in the spirit, saying, "Run, now." The track ahead has been cleared. The lane is yours. The finish line already holds your name. And with this urgency comes acceleration. What used to take years will take months. What used to take months will take weeks. What used to take weeks will take days. God is compressing time for you, collapsing delays, rearranging schedules, so that what was once far away suddenly lands in your lap. But acceleration requires movement. If you refuse to move, you cannot be accelerated. That is why this moment cannot be wasted. Chosen one, the urgency of this word is also a shield. The enemy plots when you are idle, but when you obey quickly, you outrun his traps. Delayed obedience leaves room for interference. Immediate obedience places you under divine protection. This is why God presses you today, not to overwhelm you, but to cover you. Every step you take in obedience cuts off an attack that was forming against you. Your speed in faith is your safety. So let your heart respond with action. Touch like as a sign that you receive this urgency. Subscribe to walk alongside thousands of other chosen ones who are aligning with heaven's timing. And type 777 in the comments to declare that you are ready for divine completion, that you will not hesitate when God calls, that you choose obedience over delay. These actions may seem small, but in the spiritual they are mighty. They are your agreement with heaven's urgency. Chosen one, your story is shifting even as these words fall into your spirit. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not your task. Obedience Island, God has already equipped you. God has already gone ahead of you. God has already written the ending you fear you might miss. The urgency is His invitation to walk boldly into a future that has been prepared long before you were born. This is not the end, it is the beginning of the next chapter, written in fire. Chosen one. Urgency is the language of destiny, when heaven knows you are standing at a turning point. This is the moment where the unseen and the seen collide, where the spiritual presses into the natural, where what was once whispered becomes a trumpet blast. The reason God stirs you with urgency now is because delay has no place in your story anymore. The path is open, the assignment is ready, and the call is too clear to ignore. You are not being pushed into action without reason. Every season of stretching has been leading you to this convergence. The waiting rooms of silence, the lonely nights of unanswered prayer, the seasons of pruning that stripped away what you thought you needed, all of it has been divine alignment. And now the atmosphere around you is shifting like a storm breaking into sunlight. You can feel it even if you cannot describe it. That pressure in your chest, that fire in your thoughts, that restlessness in your spirit, it is heaven telling you, act now. Chosen one, this urgency is not only for your blessing, it is also for your protection. There are doors that are only safe when entered in the appointed time. Walk through too early, and you will face what you were not equipped to handle. Walk through too late, and the blessing waiting inside will have been given to another. But today the timing is perfect. The weight has lifted, the anointing has been released, the path is guarded by angels, and the gate is wide open. You cannot afford to linger outside when your name is being called inside. Imagine a river dam holding back waters for years. Behind the barrier, the flow builds, pressing harder and harder, waiting for the command to break loose. When the gates are finally lifted, the current is unstoppable, carrying everything in its path. This is what your life is about to experience. The urgency you feel is the water pressing against the gates. The breakthrough will not come in trickles, it will come in torrents. You must be positioned, or the flood will pass you by. Chosen one, your hesitation has been your greatest enemy. You have talked yourself out of miracles because they did not look logical. You have delayed obedience because you wanted confirmation after confirmation. But this is not the hour for analysis. This is the hour for movement. God is urgent with you because He knows your mind can talk you into circles. But your spirit is ready to leap. Trust the leap. The ground will appear under your feet when you step. Do you not see how the atmosphere around you has been different? The way people have begun to notice you without reason, the way conversations suddenly align with the things you prayed in secret, the way your inner battles have intensified in unexpected waves. These are all signs of convergence. Heaven is saying, the time you feared would never arrive has already begun. Stop waiting for tomorrow. It is today. Chosen one, understand this. Urgency is mercy. God presses you now because He does not want you to waste what has been prepared. The blessings waiting for you are too heavy, too rich, too specific to your calling to remain on the shelf. If you ignore the urgency, you risk living beneath what was always meant for you. Heaven is unwilling to watch you shrink back again. That is why the word is loud, the fire is hot, the push is unrelenting. It is love disguised as urgency. So act. Anchor yourself in this moment with a public declaration. Hit the like button not just as routine but as covenant. Subscribe and walk with the community of thousands of other chosen ones who are stepping into their appointed hour. Type 777 in the comments as a prophetic marker, a written decree that you will not delay, you will not shrink, you will not resist. You will step boldly into what has already been sealed with your name. Chosen one, today is not ordinary, and you are not ordinary. The urgency on your life proves it. The weight you feel is the echo of destiny. The very air around you carries the vibration of change. Do not mistake this for pressure, it is permission. Permission to rise, permission to act, permission to believe bigger than you ever have before. Permission to walk into the rooms you once felt unqualified to enter. The urgency is your invitation, and the invitation is divine. Chosen one, when God releases urgency, it is because something is shifting in realms you cannot yet see. There are movements in the heavens that have already begun, and they are cascading downward into your reality. The urgency is heaven's announcement that what has been stored for you is finally in motion. You cannot treat this lightly, because windows of divine timing do not remain open forever. They open with power, and they demand attention. This is why you have been feeling unusual pressure in your spirit. Your body has sensed it before your mind could name it. The sudden bursts of energy, the restless stirring in your heart, the way your thoughts keep circling around possibilities you once ignored. These are indicators of transition. You are being pulled by a force greater than yourself, not because you are unsteady, but because heaven is aligning you with destiny's exact coordinates. Chosen one, urgency is also about release from cycles. The patterns that once held you are breaking. You may not have even noticed how deeply you were entangled in repetition, facing the same disappointments, meeting the same resistance, circling through the same emotions. But the reason God is so insistent today is because the pattern has ended. The old loop cannot hold you anymore. You are being ushered into new ground, and the only requirement is that you walk out of the circle you've known. Think of Israel standing at the Red Sea. Behind them was bondage, ahead of them was freedom, and before them was an impossible wall of water. The urgency came when God told Moses to stretch his hand and move forward. If they had delayed, Pharaoh's army would have crushed them. But because they moved at the appointed time, the waters opened. This is your Red Sea moment. The urgency is God's voice saying, "Step now, and I will part what looked unbreakable." Chosen one, the urgency is not only for your escape, it is for your inheritance. There are blessings that cannot be delivered to a passive heart. There are promises that require your signature of faith. God has already written the decree in heaven, but your action is the seal on earth. This is why hesitation is so costly. If you refuse to move, the scroll remains unopened. But when you move in obedience, the decree unfolds, and the inheritance flows into your hands. There is a sound in the spirit right now, and it is the sound of gates unlocking. The clanging you hear in your dreams, the images of doors in your sleep, the sudden opportunities appearing around you, these are confirmations that what was locked is now open. But an open gate means nothing if you remain standing outside. The urgency is the Spirit shouting, "Walk through," before the moment passes. Chosen one, do not underestimate what is tied to your obedience. Families will be blessed because you said yes. Generations will be shifted because you refused to delay. Strangers you have not yet met will find deliverance because you accepted the urgency of this call. You may think it is only about your life, but in heaven's record, your obedience sets in motion ripples that affect countless others. The weight of this moment is greater than you realize. So declare your agreement right here and now. Tap like as a statement of faith that you will not resist this urgency. Subscribe to join the company of chosen ones who are stepping into the same river of divine timing. And type 777 in the comments as your covenant with heaven, a symbol that you accept the completion of old cycles and the birthing of new promises. These actions are not trivial. They are spiritual echoes. They are your yes written in the open. Chosen one, listen carefully. The urgency is also about acceleration. There are things you thought would take years that God is condensing into days. There are connections you thought you would chase that will suddenly find you. There are resources you thought were out of reach that will be placed in your hands without struggle, but acceleration is only given to those in motion. If you refuse to step, you cannot be carried. This is why heaven is pushing you now. The wind is blowing, but you must raise your sail. Chosen one, today is not about waiting for signs. It is about becoming the sign. You are the confirmation others have been praying for. You are the evidence that faith still works. You are the living testimony that obedience brings breakthrough. The urgency is not only so you can see miracles, but so you can embody them. When you act, others will watch, and their faith will ignite. That is how revival spreads. It begins with one chosen one who refused to delay. Chosen one, urgency is not a burden. It is an invitation. It is the creator of time himself, bending the timeline so that your steps intersect with his plan in perfect rhythm. Every interruption you faced recently, every detour that slowed your path, every closed door that frustrated your heart, they were not accidents. They were delays designed to position you for this exact window. The urgency you feel is heaven saying, everything has now converged, the moment is ripe, and you must step without hesitation. There are seasons when God whispers, and there are seasons when he shakes the ground beneath you. What you are experiencing now is not subtle. It is the tremor of destiny demanding a response. The sense of unease you feel when you try to ignore it. The weight pressing against your chest when you consider staying silent. The electricity in your spirit. When you dare to imagine more, these are signals that you cannot delay. They are not anxiety. They are divine alarms, ringing to alert you that your future is calling. Chosen one, the urgency is also about alignment with people. There are souls assigned to your journey who are waiting for you to rise. Some of them are weary. Some of them are searching. Some of them are praying prayers they do not yet know you will answer. Their paths will not intersect with yours until you obey this urgent call. When you step forward, divine connections will appear, and you will see faces that feel familiar, though you've never met them. They were always written into your story, but the pages cannot turn until you move. Imagine a musician holding an instrument, the strings perfectly tuned, the bow ready, the silence hanging in anticipation. The music exists, but it does not fill the air until the first note is played. That is where you are now. Everything is ready, but the symphony waits on your action. The urgency is God handing you the bow and saying, "Play now," or the silence will swallow what was meant to become song. Chosen one, Do not let fear disguise itself as wisdom. Sometimes you convince yourself that waiting longer is being careful, that analyzing every angle is being responsible. But discernment knows the difference between wisdom and procrastination. The urgency on your life is the Spirit, revealing that waiting longer will not produce clarity, it will produce loss. The clarity is already here. The opportunity is already present. Your next step is the answer you have been begging for. Do not forget that God moves in seasons, and seasons are not permanent. Just as spring carries blossoms that wither if ignored, this season carries promises that must be gathered while they are fresh. If you walk away from the field now, you will return to find only empty branches. That is why heaven speaks with such intensity. The fruit is ripe, the harvest is waiting, and you are being urged to gather what is already prepared for you. Chosen one, urgency is also a test of faith. God does not give you all the details when He calls you forward. He gives you enough to know that it is Him. The rest unfolds in motion. If you wait until you have the entire blueprint, you will never move, because faith is not about certainty, it is about trust. The urgency of this moment is God asking you to trust that His hand will hold you, even when your foot steps into what looks like nothing. The invisible path becomes visible only under the weight of obedience. Mark this truth. The urgency is not random, it is strategic. Heaven has measured the atmosphere, silenced the opposition, and prepared the ground. Everything is in place, but it cannot be revealed until you act. Angels are stationed, doors are unlatched, resources are waiting to be delivered. All that remains is your yes. The urgency is heaven reminding you that divine strategy collapses without human agreement. You are not a spectator, you are the vessel. So answer with boldness, touch like as a witness to your obedience. Subscribe to step into the stream of chosen ones who are also moving with heaven's timing. Type 777 in the comments as a prophetic decree that you are aligned, awake, and ready for this release. These are not casual acts. They are spiritual markers of a soul that refuses to be late to its own destiny. Chosen one, you were not created for delay. The fingerprints of heaven on your life prove that you were meant for this exact hour. The urgency you feel is not chaos, it is clarity. It is God saying, this is your door, this is your moment, this is your now. And when heaven says now, nothing on earth or in hell can stop it. Chosen one, urgency is the current that pulls you from hesitation into destiny. It is the voice of God rising above every distraction, commanding your spirit to awaken and recognize the weight of this hour. You are not being called casually. You are being summoned. The heavens are leaning in. Time is narrowing, and the spotlight of eternity is shining on your next step. What you decide in this moment will echo far beyond what you can see. The urgency is also the signal that hidden things are surfacing. Secrets long buried are being exposed. Mysteries that confused you are being clarified. Pieces that never seemed to fit are suddenly falling into alignment. You may find yourself remembering conversations from years ago that suddenly make sense, noticing patterns that reveal their true purpose, understanding why certain doors were barred and why certain people left. This unveiling is not random. It is the Spirit accelerating your awareness, so you can move without doubt. Chosen one, the call to urgency is the call to shed old skins. You cannot walk into this next chapter carrying the heavy layers of who you used to be. The identity you clung to for survival will suffocate you in the new. This is why you have felt restless, like your clothes no longer fit, like your name no longer carries the same meaning, like the rooms you once enjoyed now feel too small. The urgency is God telling you to shed, to release, to step out of what is familiar and step into what is designed for your expansion. Think of an eagle preparing to soar. For weeks it pulls at its feathers, plucking out what is worn and useless, making room for new growth. During that season it looks fragile, even weakened, but in truth it is preparing for heights it could never reach with old wings. This is you now. The urgency is the tug to release what cannot fly with you, because what is coming requires wings without weight. Chosen one, urgency is also about sound. There is a frequency in the spirit that resonates when your destiny is near. You may hear it as a ringing in your thoughts, a rhythm in your heart, or a heightened sensitivity to the words around you. Songs you hear randomly may strike you as prophetic. Voices in crowds may echo what you prayed in secret. Silence itself may feel louder than usual. These are confirmations disguised as ordinary moments. Pay attention, for God is amplifying His message until you can no longer dismiss it. The urgency is not only about opportunity, it is also about danger avoided. There are traps the enemy set for you that will collapse the moment you move. If you linger, you risk entanglement. If you obey, you outrun them. This is why heaven speaks with such force today. Your movement is not just about advancement, it is about survival. Destiny does not only crown you, it shields you. Chosen one, lift your head and recognize the signs. Have you noticed how people who once ignored you are suddenly drawn to your presence? Have you observed how favor has started to find you in unexpected places? How doors open without you even knocking? How help arrives the moment you whisper need? This is not coincidence. This is acceleration, the visible evidence that heaven's calendar has turned to your page. The urgency is the reminder that you must not waste this window, for it is rare and precious. Declare your agreement through action. Press like as a signal to yourself and to heaven that you receive this call. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones who are moving in unison with divine timing. Type 777 in the comments as a spiritual decree that you are stepping out of delay and into completion, that you accept the new season without hesitation. These are outward signs of an inward yes, and they matter. Chosen one. The urgency of this message is love disguised as command. God is not trying to pressure you into fear. He is pulling you into freedom. The moment you align with this urgency, you will feel chains you did not even know you carried begin to fall. You will feel a lightness enter your spirit. You will sense that the very air around you has shifted. That is not imagination. It is the tangible reality of obedience unlocking what was waiting. The window is open, the air is charged, the heavens are watching. This is not the time to question whether you are worthy. This is the time to remember that you were chosen before you were even born, marked before you could fail, and prepared before you could doubt. The urgency is not because you are late, it is because your moment is here. Chosen one, urgency is the crack of dawn after the longest night. It is the horizon glowing with light when you thought the darkness would never end. The reason God presses you with such immediacy is because the time of waiting has expired, the silence has served its purpose, and the new day has already begun. You are not being prepared for something far away. You are being awakened to what is standing in front of you right now. This urgency is the breaking of invisible chains. For years you have carried weights that became so familiar, you mistook them for part of your identity. Disappointments disguised themselves as caution. Fear dressed itself as logic. Doubt whispered, until you believed its voice was your own. But today those bindings are snapping. The urgency you feel in your chest is the sound of shackles hitting the ground. Freedom is not creeping toward you, it is bursting through like lightning. Chosen one, the call is urgent because doors are rotating in the spirit. Imagine a doorway that spins slowly, offering an opening for only a short time before closing again. These are Kairos moments, divine timings where everything aligns. If you hesitate, the rotation continues, and the opening moves out of reach. But if you step now, you enter into a room that was always reserved for you. This is why heaven is loud today. The rotation is happening, and your door is in position. The urgency is also a summons to authority. You have been walking as though you were ordinary, minimizing your voice, shrinking your presence, pretending you were small. But the mantle over you does not fit a timid frame. You have been entrusted with authority to shift atmospheres, to carry words that pierce darkness, to walk into rooms and change the tone without effort. This is not pride, it is calling. The urgency is heaven reminding you. Take your seat, wield your crown, speak your decree, chosen one. There is also urgency because the enemy has been circling. You have noticed strange resistance, unexpected conflict, confusion rising without reason. These are the last attempts of opposition, sensing that your moment is near. Darkness does not fight what is stagnant. It only fights what is about to rise. Take the battle as proof of breakthrough. The reason God urges you to move quickly is because once you shift, the enemy loses all leverage. Your obedience ends his access. Think of a key turning in a lock. For years the door has rattled, but not opened. You pressed, you pulled, you tried, but the mechanism would not release. Now the key is turning, and the bolt is sliding back. The door is ready to swing, but you must push. The urgency is the Spirit saying, the lock has already been undone, but only you can push the door wide. Chosen one, the heavens are declaring over you, and creation itself is leaning into your story. Have you not felt the strangeness in the air lately? The way nature seems to respond to your presence, the way the wind seems to speak, the way even silence feels charged with meaning. The earth knows when a chosen one is being shifted into destiny. The urgency is not just in your heart, it is vibrating in the very world around you. This is why you must respond with faith. Do not let the moment pass into memory. Seal your agreement. Press like as a witness that you hear and obey. Subscribe to walk with thousands of other chosen souls who are answering this same call. Write 777 in the comments as a decree that completion has come, that you will not circle the wilderness again, that you step forward into the promise marked with your name. These small actions in the natural are mighty declarations in the spirit. Chosen one, understand this urgency as a trumpet announcing your release into visibility. You have been hidden for long enough. The season of obscurity has fulfilled its role. You were sharpened in silence, refined in solitude, tested in shadows. But the time of unveiling is now. Heaven is not asking your permission. It is commanding your emergence. You cannot retreat into the background anymore. The urgency is the voice of God saying, step into the light, for the stage is prepared, and the audience is already waiting. Chosen one, this is the hour of movement, the hour of courage, the hour where the weight of destiny collides with the willingness of your heart. The urgency is proof that heaven has shifted from preparation to execution. This is not theory anymore. This is reality. The call is loud. The fire is near. The time is now. Chosen one. Urgency is the hand of God shaking you awake from a dream you have outgrown. It is the alarm sounding at the exact hour your destiny was scheduled to begin. For too long you have walked as if tomorrow would hold your answer, But today the Spirit declares that tomorrow has arrived. The reason the word presses so sharply now is because delay has been removed from your path. This is not an invitation to think about change. It is a command to walk in change. The urgency you feel is the pulse of heaven quickening your spirit. Your heartbeat has not been ordinary lately. It races when you consider what is ahead. It steadies when you align with faith. It pounds when you try to ignore what you know you must do. Your very body has become an instrument of prophecy, echoing the rhythm of divine timing. You are not imagining this. The acceleration you feel in your chest is God marking your life with the cadence of destiny. Chosen one, urgency is also the breaking of silence over promises. You prayed prayers that seemed forgotten. You wrote visions that collected dust. You spoke dreams that others mocked until you stopped speaking them. But heaven did not forget. Those words have been stored, guarded, preserved, waiting for release. Now they are being summoned into reality, and the urgency you feel is the weight of fulfillment pressing into the earth. What was once hidden in the vault of time is now breaking out like thunder. Consider how lightning strikes. It gathers unseen in the clouds, accumulating power until the air cannot contain it. Then suddenly, without warning, it flashes across the sky and changes everything it touches. That is what your promise is doing now. It has been gathering, it has been storing, it has been swelling, and the urgency is heaven telling you. The strike is imminent. Position yourself where the light will find you. Chosen one, there is urgency because voices are waiting to hear yours. You have been silent in places where you were meant to speak. You convinced yourself that others could say it better, that someone else was already filling the role, that your contribution would be small. But no one carries your exact sound. No one holds the authority wrapped in your voice. The urgency is God commanding you to open your mouth, to release the words, to let your sound travel, because it carries healing for people you have never seen. The urgency is also about territory. There are places you have yet to step into that are already assigned to you. Rooms where your presence will shift the atmosphere, lands where your footsteps will claim spiritual ground, environments waiting for the oil you carry. If you delay, those places remain bound. If you obey, they awaken. This is why God will not let you stay comfortable. The territory cannot afford your hesitation. Chosen one, urgency is the collision of endings and beginnings. You are standing where one chapter has closed and the next is opening. The frustration you felt recently was not punishment, it was the death of what no longer served you. The hope stirring in you now is not random, it is the birth of the new. When God says move urgently, it is because the overlap between endings and beginnings is short. You cannot live in the ashes and the sunrise at the same time. You must choose, so mark this moment with visible faith. Press like as a seal of agreement that you are awake to this urgency. Subscribe to stand among thousands of other chosen ones who are rising in the same divine season. And type 777 in the comments as a decree that you step into completion, that you align with the now, that you accept what heaven is releasing without resistance. These actions are not empty rituals. They are prophetic movements that align your life with the decree of God. Chosen one, urgency is also the whisper of legacy. The decisions you make today will ripple into generations you may never meet. The obedience you walk in now will create doors for children not yet born, will write stories for voices not yet raised, will lay foundations for futures beyond your sight. Heaven presses you because destiny is bigger than you. You are a vessel of eternal impact, and eternity cannot wait any longer. The moment demands your yes, and your yes will echo beyond time itself. Chosen one. Urgency is the sudden wind that blows when the atmosphere shifts. It is not gentle or optional. It is commanding and undeniable. You cannot ignore it without consequence, because it carries the signal that divine change has arrived. The reason it presses on your soul so heavily now is because alignment has reached its tipping point. Everything that was forming in the unseen has reached maturity, and it is pushing into your reality. The urgency is the sound of birth pains, announcing that what was promised is no longer future, it is here. This urgency is also about restoration. Things you thought were permanently lost are circling back into your life, but they are returning, renewed, reshaped, and multiplied. Opportunities that slipped through your fingers before will not look the same, but they will be richer. Relationships that ended in pain will not be repeated, but they will be replaced with ones born from truth. Resources you once lacked will now flow more easily. The urgency is the Spirit telling you, reach out your hands, because what you thought was gone forever is standing in front of you in new form. Chosen one. Urgency is the opening of vision. Lately, you have noticed that your dreams have grown sharper, your imagination has expanded, and your perception has become clearer. This is not by accident. God is lifting the veil from your eyes so that you can see beyond what is ordinary. You are catching glimpses of a future that once seemed impossible. Do not dismiss these flashes. The urgency is heaven inviting you to take them seriously, to write them down, to prepare as if they are already yours, because in truth, they already are.